Hi everybody, this is Kristen from A Voice and a View, here to do another video, and I hope you're all doing well out there. Hope you're staying warm in all this snow that never stops and being safe. Which reminds me, because I actually turned out of a gas station in front of someone. It wasn't on purpose. I saw their turn signal. They were turning into the gas station. But what I didn't realize was that they were turning into the other lane. They weren't turning into the gas station. So I almost caused an accident. My bad. Sorry. I realized it after the fact, and she was not happy. She was beeping her horn at me and hands in the air, and it's like, oh no. So that was my fault. I misjudged that situation big time. But anyways, glad everything went all right and nothing happened. But today's healing video is called The Subconscious Mind. And you got to be real careful with what you're paying attention to these days, especially with all the violence in movies and video games and, you know, TV shows and whatever you're watching with your two eyes, okay? Because there is subliminal messaging in those programs, okay? And they call them programs for a reason. Programming. But whatever you're watching and paying attention to, it can change your thinking. It can keep you in that mindset. Okay, and so you've got to be careful and pay attention to how much you're watching, what you're watching, so that it's not creating your world from it, okay? And when I started down this journey of awakening, I said this many, many videos ago, but I used to love watching scary movies. I used to love Halloween. It was my favorite holiday. I would get all dressed up, have big parties. And what I didn't realize, the more I awakened, okay, was that stuff was starting to bother me. It was starting to irritate my soul. And I couldn't watch anymore. And it was a gradual thing, but I realized that the more I was aware of what was going on with this great awakening journey and through healing and what I've talked about and how to open up your chakras and do all this healing work in shadow work. But the more that I did this process, okay, I couldn't watch any more of that, the negativity, all the negativity that was in all of that stuff, whether it be a movie, a TV show, you know, a holiday, whatever it was, that it just really bothered my being. It really upset me, and I'd have to get up and go in the other room or, you know, do something else because, you know, some family members of mine love to watch that stuff, and I kind of got them into that because that's what I used to love. You know, I used to love that stuff. But the more you awaken, the more that stuff will bother you. And you won't be able to watch what everybody's watching and get all excited about that new movie that's coming out. Yeah, it just really starts to bother you, your soul, your being. And there's a reason for that, and it's because all of that stuff is on a different frequency. It's trying to lower your frequency. All that entertainment out there, all that stuff that's trying to keep you distracted. And in the lower frequencies, they're doing that for a reason. But whether you realize it or not, all that stuff, the more you pay attention to it, the more it's programming you. The more it's programming your subconscious mind. Okay? You got to be real careful about what your two eyes watch and pay attention to. Okay? And you're going to come to a point where you're going to start turning the television off, and it might be all together. I got to a point where I just literally didn't like watching TV anymore. Although my family members do. I'd usually have that on for them, but I'm on my phone doing my thing, looking up information or whatever. But it got to a point where I had a hard time watching all that stuff anymore. And even especially Halloween, I didn't want to see the decorations everywhere. I didn't want to see the scary outdoor stuff in the yards. I didn't want to see all that stuff. And it really bothered me. And to this day it still does. But talk about a 360. Growing up, I loved Halloween. Every Halloween I'd get all dressed up and party on, drinking and whatever. But things change. This journey changes you. It transforms you in every way, and you start realizing that what your eyes pay attention to is what you're creating your world from. And not just that. I mean, I talk about other things as well, but your words, actions, all that stuff. But your eyes are very important. Your eyes are the gateway, guys, to the soul. And it's very important to what you pay attention to and what your eyes see and what you're focusing on. Because I know the more and more that I paid attention to all that stuff, all of that negativity on television, through all different kinds of entertainment. Once I started waking up, I realized that I was being programmed. And it's like you disappear. It's like you're not paying attention to the outside world when all of that information is flooding into your brain. Okay, it's distracting you. It's trying to keep you in that stuck energy, in that cycle, in the lower frequencies, trying to scare you, trying to keep you at that low vibration. And the more you turn all of that off, the more you switch up what you see and what you pay attention to, it's like you snap out of that programming, of all that negativity that's flooding through your brain, through your eyes. And you'll realize you're going to start paying attention to other things. And through awakening, you're gonna change your habits. You're gonna start turning off the television and turning on music and doing other things, getting outside, being in nature. Other things that give you that rush, that give you that that comfort and happiness. You know, God is in the natural world, and everything out there in the natural world will start to be attracted to you through this process. You will become like a magnet to nature and to all of God's creations. They will start being magnetized to you, and your frequency will change. But the subconscious mind is complicated, and the more you're aware of what you're watching on television, what you're consuming through your eyes, okay, all the scary movies and horror films and, you know, all that stuff. You got to be real careful what you watch. And redirect your attention. Okay, turn on something else. You know, turn on a different kind of music. And that's another thing too. I can't listen to a lot of hard rock music like I used to. And once in a while I still like to hear it. But usually it's like the it's not the constant hard rock music. It's more of like the slower versions of songs with those singers that I still enjoy, but a lot of that music I can't listen to anymore because of the frequency of it. And I know, I wish I had, well, there was a frequency change with music, and I know it was around the time of when rap music started coming into play, where the frequency changed. And don't get me wrong, guys, I've listened to rap music. You know, I like NF. I've listened to other rap music over the years. It's not been one of my favorites, but I know during that time frame is when the frequency changed with music. And that's a big deal. But everything has changed so much in the last how many years. And your attention needs to be focusing on you and waking up you, and you paying attention to what you're seeing and paying attention to on a daily basis, what you are seeing in your everyday lives, and in the everything that you pay attention to. Realize that your subconscious is paying attention. It's really paying attention to what you see and consume. Okay, what you're listening to, what you're seeing and observing, your actions from all of that. The video games, you got to be real careful about the video games. There's a lot of video games that are very negative, guys. You got to be real careful with that. And actually, I remember when my son was younger, I bought a game, regretted it, and I got rid of it because he started freaking out on me. And I didn't realize how bad the game was. And I'm not going to mention which one. But he literally came up to me and said, "Mom, you're right. I can't handle this game." And he was upset. You know, it was way too much for him. But I didn't realize it was that, you know, bad until I saw him playing it. And that's when I took it away, and he got really mad at me at the time. But it was a good thing I did, because even he realized it was too much for him. You know, all that stuff that we watch and that we play and pay attention to. Be real careful, because it can change you. It can change your whole world around you, and it will actually make you crave more of it. Okay, so I just wanted to put this video out quick. I thought this was an important message for today. But everything in your life is trying to wake you up, to help you understand that everything you say, do, listen to, watch, you know, it's all trying to teach you something. And the more you're aware of it, the more you can do something about it. You know, the less you turn on the TV, the less you play those video games. And I'm not saying all of it. But, you know, there's some intense stuff out there, guys. Just be careful on how much you're consuming with your mind, with your eyes and your ears, and what you're watching every day. Change it up and focus on something else, or do less of, you know, that kind of stuff. It's all important in this journey. Okay? So just a quick video today, guys. And this is Kristen from A Voice and a View. And I love you all. Bye. Peace, love, and light.